I thought I was walking into my promotion meeting. 7 years of building Sterling Capital Management's defense division from nothing, winning every major investor lawsuit, protecting millions in assets from fraudulent claims. Instead, Richard announced his 25-year-old stepdaughter, Kelly, would become senior partner. My stomach dropped as he praised her fresh perspective and innovative thinking. Fresh perspective. I trained her for a year, taught her everything she knows about corporate law. I forced a smile, said, "Congratulations, Kelly," submitted my resignation letter, and walked out. The next morning, everything changed when our biggest defense case collapsed. Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs. But when you spend 7 years pouring your soul into building something from scratch, you develop tunnel vision about the people around you. I joined Sterling Capital Management straight out of Columbia Law School when they were drowning in lawsuits. Investment firms in 2016 faced constant legal challenges as market volatility triggered waves of investor complaints. Failed ventures, regulatory investigations, and fraud accusations created a legal nightmare for mid-sized firms like Sterling. They needed someone who could transform their reputation from liability-prone startup to trusted financial institution. That someone was me. Eliza Chen, 31 years old with a specialization in corporate defense and a hunger to prove myself in the cutthroat world of investment law. I started as junior counsel working 18-hour days to understand every nuance of securities law, regulatory compliance, and fiduciary responsibility. My first case involved defending Sterling against accusations they misled retirees about high-risk pharmaceutical investments. I developed a comprehensive defense strategy showing how Sterling provided proper disclosures while outside consultants gave misleading advice about market conditions. We won that case and 17 others in my first 2 years. I created standardized defense protocols, established relationships with forensic accountants, and built a network of expert witnesses who could explain complex financial concepts to juries. My reputation for turning hopeless cases into victories attracted bigger clients with more sophisticated legal challenges. By year 5, I was handling $100 million fraud investigations single-handedly. My innovative approach involved thorough documentation of client communications, proactive regulatory compliance, and aggressive counterattacks against frivolous lawsuits. I developed what became known as the Sterling Defense Protocol, a comprehensive system for protecting investment firms from legal liability while maintaining ethical business practices. The work consumed my personal life, but I believed it was worth the sacrifice. I missed family gatherings, canceled dates, and spent weekends in the office because building something meaningful required total commitment. My younger sister Hannah constantly worried about my social isolation, but I told her success demanded focus. There would be time for relationships after I secured my future. Kelly Walsh arrived last spring with an MBA from Northwestern and 0 legal experience. Richard introduced her as his stepdaughter, recently graduated and eager to learn the investment business. She was 24, blonde, energetic, and immediately charming with everyone she met. I volunteered to mentor her because Richard asked personally, and I understood the value of family connections in business. Training. Kelly became my biggest mistake. She absorbed information like a sponge, asking insightful questions about case strategy, client psychology, and regulatory nuances. I shared everything I had learned about defending investment firms, including proprietary techniques I developed through years of trial and error. Kelly shadowed my meetings, observed client interactions, and gained access to confidential information that took me years to accumulate. She seemed genuinely grateful for the mentorship, often staying late to help with research and bringing coffee during stressful case preparation. Kelly had natural charisma that clients immediately appreciated, and I thought her enthusiasm would benefit our team dynamics. Richard praised my willingness to develop young talent, suggesting it demonstrated leadership qualities he valued in senior partners. But strange things began happening around month 6 of Kelly's employment. Major clients started questioning my communication style, claiming I seemed overwhelmed with responsibilities and perhaps needed assistance with their accounts. Wealthy investors who previously praised my thorough approach suddenly complained about missed deadlines and inadequate attention to their concerns. I attributed these complaints to increasing case complexity and promised to improve client service. However, the criticism intensified despite my efforts to address every concern raised. Robert Morrison, our largest individual client with $30 million in managed assets, requested Kelly handle his account exclusively after expressing dissatisfaction with my outdated approaches to risk management. The shift in client attitudes puzzled me because my case outcomes remained consistently positive. We won every major lawsuit, settled disputes favorably, and maintained Sterling's reputation as a formidable defense firm. Yet clients increasingly viewed Kelly as the rising star, while treating me like a competent but aging professional whose time was passing. I started reviewing my client communications obsessively, searching for mistakes or oversights that might explain the changing dynamics. My documentation remained thorough, my legal analysis was sound, and my case strategies produced excellent results. Nothing in my professional performance justified the growing client dissatisfaction. The truth hit me like physical pain as I sat in my empty office after submitting my resignation. I pulled up my email system one final time to transfer important files and noticed something that made my blood run cold. Kelly had been accessing my secure client folders for months, reviewing confidential case information and downloading sensitive documents without authorization. My computer logs showed she regularly checked my calendar, copied my client contact lists, and read my private case notes. Kelly knew every strategy I planned, every weakness I identified in opposing arguments, and every concern I had about ongoing investigations. She possessed complete knowledge of my work, while I remained completely ignorant of her activities. The email evidence revealed systematic manipulation that was breathtaking in its scope and cruelty. Kelly had been contacting clients privately, undermining my credibility, while positioning herself as the superior choice for their legal needs. She shared selective information about case challenges, suggested I was struggling with workload management, and offered alternative strategies that were actually my own ideas repackaged with her personal branding. Her manipulation was sophisticated and patient. Kelly spent months building individual relationships with wealthy investors, convincing them she understood their needs better than I did. She exploited her stepdaughter relationship with Richard to suggest she had inside access to firm decisions and special insights about business direction that I lacked. Robert Morrison's switch to Kelly made perfect sense now. She had been feeding him information about his case development while simultaneously expressing concerns about my traditional mindset and resistance to innovative approaches. Kelly convinced him she was the forward-thinking attorney he needed, while I represented outdated legal thinking that might jeopardize his interests. Every complaint about my performance had been orchestrated by Kelly's whisper campaign. She carefully planted seeds of doubt about my competence, while positioning herself as the solution to problems she created. The stepdaughter connection provided perfect cover for her ambitions, making clients believe she had inherited Richard's business instincts and deserved advancement based on family insights rather than earned qualifications. The psychological manipulation was masterful and devastating. Kelly had systematically destroyed my professional relationships while appearing to be a grateful mentee learning from my expertise. She attended my meetings to gather intelligence, not to absorb knowledge. She asked probing questions to identify vulnerabilities, not to improve her understanding. She offered help to gain access to confidential information, not to support my success. As I packed my personal belongings, I felt a mixture of rage and grudging admiration for Kelly's strategic thinking. She had executed a flawless campaign to replace me while making it appear like natural professional evolution. Richard believed he was promoting family talent. Clients thought they were choosing superior representation, and I was left looking like a bitter attorney who couldn't handle competition from younger colleagues. The promotion I had earned through 7 years of exceptional performance went to someone who had been sabotaging me for months. Kelly's fresh perspective was actually my stolen perspective, repackaged with better marketing. Her innovative thinking was my innovative thinking presented by someone who understood client psychology better than I did. But as I walked to my car with a box of personal items, I had no idea that Kelly's betrayal was just the beginning of a conspiracy that would threaten everything I had worked to build. My phone started ringing at 6:30 the next morning. Richard's name flashed on the screen with desperate urgency that immediately told me something catastrophic had happened. I almost declined the call out of pride, but professional instinct made me answer. "Eliza, thank God you picked up." Richard's voice cracked with panic. "I need you to come in immediately. We have a crisis that could destroy everything." I sat up in bed, my anger from yesterday temporarily overwhelmed by curiosity about what could reduce Richard to this level of desperation. "I resigned yesterday. Remember, Kelly is your senior partner now. She can handle whatever crisis you're facing." "Kelly can't handle this." Richard's voice carried genuine terror. "Our biggest client is facing federal investigation, and we're about to lose everything. Please, I'm begging you to come in. We can discuss terms, compensation, anything you want, but I need your expertise right now." The Meridian Pension Fund case. I had been building their defense for 2 years, creating a comprehensive strategy to protect them from fraud accusations that could destroy retirement security for 50,000 American workers. If that case collapsed, Sterling Capital would lose their most profitable client and face potential criminal charges as accessories to financial crimes. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet Richard at the office within the hour. Professional responsibility sometimes transcends personal grievances, and 50,000 retirees didn't deserve to lose their life savings because of office politics and nepotism. I arrived to find chaos. Jessica Martinez, my former paralegal, met me in the lobby with tears streaming down her face. Jessica had worked with me for 4 years, helping organize case files, coordinate with expert witnesses, and maintain the meticulous documentation that made my defense strategies effective. "Eliza, I'm so sorry about everything," Jessica whispered as we rode the elevator to the 32nd floor. "I should have warned you about what Kelly was doing, but I didn't realize the extent of her manipulation until after you left." "What exactly happened with the Meridian case?" I asked, dreading the answer, but needing to understand the full scope of the crisis. Jessica's expression turned from apologetic to horrified. "Kelly destroyed everything. She spent her first day as senior partner trying to reorganize the case files to impress Richard with her efficiency. She didn't understand your filing system, so she decided to create a new organizational structure. In the process, she deleted digital records, shredded physical documents, and corrupted the backup systems containing all our evidence proving Meridian's innocence. The magnitude of Kelly's incompetence hit me like a physical blow. I had spent 2 years building an airtight defense showing that Meridian's pension fund managers were victims of sophisticated cyber theft by foreign hackers. The evidence proved they followed proper protocols, while criminals exploited security vulnerabilities that even federal cybersecurity experts couldn't have detected. "How much evidence did she destroy?" I asked, though Jessica's expression already provided the answer. "All of it," Jessica replied with devastating simplicity. "The forensic accounting reports showing unauthorized access patterns, the cybersecurity analysis proving external breach, the communications records demonstrating proper oversight procedures, and the expert witness depositions establishing industry standards." Kelly thought she was consolidating duplicate files, but she was actually deleting the only copies of critical evidence. Without this evidence, Meridian appeared guilty of deliberate fraud. Federal prosecutors possessed circumstantial evidence suggesting insider manipulation of pension funds, including suspicious transfer patterns and timing irregularities that could indicate intentional theft. My destroyed documentation would have shifted blame to external criminal networks operating sophisticated theft operations against American retirement systems. Richard greeted me in the conference room with the desperation of someone facing personal and professional destruction. His usual polished confidence had evaporated, replaced by the hollow expression of a man who realized his decisions had catastrophic consequences. "The federal deadline for submitting our defense documentation is tomorrow at 5 p.m., Richard explained, his voice barely controlled. "Without your evidence, we can't prove Meridian's innocence. The prosecutors will move forward with fraud charges that could destroy 50,000 retirement accounts and send our clients to federal prison for 20 years. I studied the remaining fragments of case materials scattered across the conference table. Kelly's attempt at organization had created a disaster that would have been comical if the stakes weren't so devastating. She had mixed documents from different cases, mislabeled crucial evidence, and destroyed the cross-reference system I used to connect complex financial data. "Where is Kelly now?" I asked, needing to understand whether she could provide any assistance in reconstructing the defense. "She's in her office trying to figure out what she destroyed," Richard admitted with obvious shame, "but she doesn't understand the legal theory behind your defense strategy. Kelly memorized your presentation techniques, but she never grasped the underlying analysis that made your arguments convincing. The irony was brutal and complete. Kelly had stolen my client relationships and secured my promotion by appearing to understand investment defense law, but when faced with actual legal work, her ignorance became immediately apparent. Her business school education provided no preparation for federal criminal defense regulatory compliance analysis or the forensic financial investigation required for complex fraud cases. Kelly's sabotage of my career was masterful, but her destruction of crucial evidence was purely accidental incompetence. She had eliminated herself and Sterling Capital from the very industry she worked so hard to infiltrate. The promotion she stole would last exactly 1 day before federal prosecutors destroyed everything she had manipulated to achieve. I spent the next hour reviewing the scope of the catastrophe, while Richard provided increasingly desperate explanations for Kelly's mistakes. She had confused backup files with working documents, assumed cloud storage was redundant with local files, and believed consolidating everything into a single folder would improve efficiency. Each decision demonstrated fundamental ignorance about legal case management and evidence preservation requirements. The federal charges facing Sterling Capital extended beyond losing the Meridian account. If prosecutors proved the firm participated in covering up pension fund fraud, Richard could face criminal conspiracy charges carrying 10-year prison sentences. Kelly's evidence destruction could be interpreted as deliberate obstruction of justice rather than innocent mismanagement. "I'll consider helping with the Meridian defense," I told Richard after reviewing the destruction, "but I have conditions that aren't negotiable." Richard nodded frantically, clearly prepared to agree to anything that might save his business and freedom. "Name your terms. Salary, partnership, percentage, office arrangements, whatever you need. First, I want full authority over this case with no interference from Kelly. Second, I want access to Kelly's computer records and communication logs to understand exactly what she destroyed. Third, I want answers about how she gained access to secured case files without proper authorization." Richard agreed immediately to the first condition, but hesitated about the second and third requests. His reluctance to provide Kelly's records suggested he either didn't understand the seriousness of the security breach or was protecting information he preferred to keep private. "Eliza, I understand your frustration with Kelly's mistakes, but we need to focus on saving Meridian rather than assigning blame for what happened." I gathered my belongings and headed toward the door, unwilling to waste time on someone who didn't grasp the fundamental issues at stake. Richard Kelly's destruction of evidence wasn't a mistake. It was either criminal negligence or deliberate sabotage. Until you're willing to investigate which one, I can't help you. As I reached the elevator, Jessica caught up with me carrying a flash drive and a determined expression that suggested she had important information to share. "Eliza, there's something else you need to know about Kelly. Something that might explain why she destroyed those files." Jessica glanced around nervously before continuing. "I've been monitoring unusual computer activity since Kelly arrived, and I found evidence suggesting she might not be who she claims to be." The elevator doors opened, but instead of leaving, I stepped back into the hallway. Jessica's discovery might provide the key to understanding Kelly's true motivations and the real scope of the conspiracy I was beginning to uncover. Jessica led me to a small conference room where she had assembled computer printouts, phone records, and personnel files that painted a terrifying picture of systematic deception. Her investigation into Kelly's background revealed inconsistencies that transformed accidental incompetence into deliberate criminal activity. "I started getting suspicious about Kelly's computer usage patterns about 3 months ago," Jessica explained, spreading documents across the table. "She was accessing files at unusual hours, downloading large amounts of data, and using advanced search functions that seemed beyond someone with her supposed experience level." The first red flag was Kelly's resume, which Jessica had quietly verified through professional networking contacts. Kelly claimed to have graduated summa cum laude from Northwestern's Kellogg School of Management, but the registrar's office had no record of her attendance. Her undergraduate degree from University of Michigan was equally fictitious, with forged transcripts that looked authentic but contained subtle errors in formatting and course numbering. "Her employment history is completely fabricated," Jessica continued, pointing to a comparison chart showing discrepancies in dates, job titles, and company names. "The 3 firms she claimed to work for either don't exist or have no record of employing anyone named Kelly Walsh during the time periods she specified. Even more disturbing was the falsification of her character references. The senior managers who supposedly provided glowing recommendations were either fictional people or real executives who had never heard Kelly's name. Someone with sophisticated resources had created an elaborate false identity designed to pass superficial background checks while avoiding deeper investigation. Jessica's technical analysis revealed Kelly's true expertise level was far beyond what she pretended. Her computer usage showed advanced knowledge of data extraction, file compression, and secure communication protocols that contradicted her claims of being a recent business school graduate learning basic office procedures. She was using professional-grade software to copy our client database, compress confidential files, and upload encrypted data to external servers. Jessica explained, showing me network logs that documented systematic theft. This wasn't casual snooping or accidental access. Kelly was conducting sophisticated corporate espionage. The most shocking discovery came when Jessica traced Kelly's real identity through facial recognition software and public records searches. Kelly Walsh didn't exist, but Catherine Walsh did. Catherine was a 32-year-old corporate intelligence specialist with a criminal background involving commercial espionage, fraud, and identity theft. Catherine Walsh had been arrested 5 years earlier for infiltrating pharmaceutical companies to steal drug development research for foreign competitors. She spent 18 months in federal prison before being released on probation for cooperating with authorities in a larger investigation. Her cooperation involved providing information about international criminal networks operating in American corporate markets. "She's not Richard's stepdaughter," Jessica said with quiet intensity. "Catherine Walsh has no family connection to Richard Sterling. She fabricated the entire relationship to explain her rapid hiring and advancement within our firm. The investigation revealed Catherine's systematic theft of Sterling Capital's most valuable assets, client information defense strategies, and confidential case materials. She photographed documents with concealed cameras, recorded conversations using sophisticated listening devices, and copied computer files containing sensitive investor data worth millions in competitive advantages. Jessica showed me encrypted communication logs revealing Catherine's constant contact with handlers at competing investment firms. She reported on internal strategies, upcoming cases, and client vulnerabilities while receiving detailed instructions for disrupting specific legal proceedings without detection. Her mission was to destroy our competitive advantages by stealing our methods and sabotaging our biggest cases," Jessica explained. The evidence destruction wasn't incompetence. Catherine eliminated Meridian's defense materials to damage Sterling Capital's reputation while providing her real employers with intelligence about our client relationships. The false stepdaughter story provided perfect cover for Catherine's infiltration. Richard never investigated her family claims because they seemed to explain her rapid promotion and access to confidential information. Catherine exploited Richard's ego by convincing him she inherited his business instincts and deserved advancement based on genetic potential rather than earned qualifications. But who was Catherine really working for? Jessica's investigation revealed financial transfers from Blackstone Acquisitions, Sterling Capital's primary competitor in the mid-market investment management space. Blackstone had been systematically poaching Sterling's clients over the past year, offering superior service based on what appeared to be detailed knowledge of Sterling's internal operations. Catherine provided Blackstone with our client database defense strategies and advance notice of upcoming cases, Jessica explained. They used this intelligence to approach our clients with better offers and more targeted services than should have been possible. The corporate espionage operation extended far beyond simple client theft. Catherine's handlers at Blackstone provided her with detailed psychological profiles of Sterling's employees, helping her identify vulnerabilities and manipulation opportunities. My own professional isolation made me an ideal target for someone who could exploit my mentoring instincts and desire to develop young talent. Catherine studied my work habits, communication patterns, and client relationships to craft the perfect sabotage strategy. She knew I valued thoroughness over charm, technical competence over political maneuvering, and professional achievement over personal recognition. Her campaign exploited these characteristics by positioning herself as someone who appreciated modern client service, while I represented outdated approaches to business development. The phone records Jessica obtained showed Catherine maintained daily contact with Blackstone executives throughout her year at Sterling Capital. Her reports detailed not just my professional activities, but my personal habits, family relationships, and psychological vulnerabilities. The manipulation campaign against me was professionally designed psychological warfare. Catherine received specific instructions about undermining your client relationships while avoiding detection, Jessica explained, pointing to decoded text messages. Blackstone's intelligence team provided her with detailed scripts for private client conversations and strategic timing for maximum damage to your reputation. The revelation transformed my understanding of the past year's events. Every complaint about my performance had been orchestrated by corporate espionage rather than legitimate client dissatisfaction. Catherine's whisper campaign represented sophisticated intelligence operations designed to eliminate threats to Blackstone's market position. But the conspiracy extended beyond simple corporate competition. Jessica's investigation uncovered financial connections between Blackstone acquisitions and foreign investment groups with suspected ties to international criminal organizations. Catherine's espionage might represent economic warfare rather than domestic business rivalry. I think Catherine's real mission involves more than stealing clients, Jessica said carefully. Some of these financial transfers originate from accounts linked to investigations into foreign interference in American markets. She might be working for people who want to destabilize our entire financial system rather than just help Blackstone acquire more business. The implications were staggering. If Catherine represented foreign intelligence operations, then my defense work protecting American pension funds and retirement accounts had made me a target in international economic warfare. My success defending investors from fraudulent schemes threatened criminal networks operating on a scale I never imagined. Jessica handed me the flash drive containing all her evidence. "Aliza, I think you need to contact federal authorities immediately. This isn't just corporate espionage anymore. Catherine might be part of something much more dangerous than business competition." As I held the drive containing evidence of systematic betrayal, I realized Kelly's promotion and my resignation were just opening moves in a much larger game. Someone with significant resources had invested substantial time and money in destroying my career because my legal expertise posed threats they couldn't tolerate. The question was whether I should run from danger or fight back against people who had already demonstrated they were willing to destroy lives to achieve their objectives. Looking at Jessica's terrified but determined expression, I knew the choice had already been made for me. By 8 that evening, I had made my decision. Instead of running from Catherine's conspiracy, I would fight back using the same deception tactics she had employed against me. If she wanted to play games involving false identities and systematic manipulation, I would give her exactly the kind of challenge she wouldn't expect from a supposedly naive attorney. I called Richard and arranged an emergency meeting for the following morning, claiming I had discovered a potential solution for reconstructing Meridian's destroyed evidence. This was partially true since I maintained encrypted backup copies of crucial case materials in secure cloud storage that Catherine didn't know existed. My paranoia about data security, developed through years of handling sensitive financial information, had accidentally protected me from her sabotage. But my real objective involved using the Meridian crisis as cover for investigating Catherine's espionage network. I needed her to believe I was desperately focused on saving the case while secretly gathering evidence about her true activities and connections to Blackstone acquisitions. Jessica agreed to help with the counterintelligence operation despite obvious risks to her career and personal safety. We developed a careful plan for monitoring Catherine's activities while documenting her communications with outside handlers. Jessica's technical skills, combined with my legal knowledge about evidence preservation requirements, created an effective surveillance capability. The first step involved installing monitoring software on Catherine's computer and office phone systems. Jessica had administrative access to Sterling's network infrastructure, allowing her to deploy keylogger programs and communication interceptors without Catherine's knowledge. These tools would capture real-time conversations with her Blackstone handlers while providing evidence of ongoing espionage activities. I also needed to appear completely trusting of Catherine while encouraging her to reveal information about her mission and capabilities. This required careful psychological manipulation, convincing someone who specialized in deception that I was exactly the kind of naive professional she could easily control and exploit. Wednesday morning, I returned to Sterling Capital with apparent humility and desperation about saving my career. Richard introduced me to Catherine as his senior partner who would be assisting with the Meridian case reconstruction. Catherine's expression showed barely concealed satisfaction at seeing me reduced to working under her authority. "Kelly, I want to apologize for my emotional reaction yesterday." I began using her false name while studying her responses for tells about her true identity. Losing the promotion was disappointing, but I understand Richard's decision to promote fresh talent. I hope we can work together effectively to save Meridian's defense. Catherine played her role perfectly, expressing gracious willingness to benefit from my experience while making subtle suggestions about improved case management approaches. Her performance demonstrated sophisticated training in manipulation psychology, but I noticed micro-expressions that revealed her contempt for the people she was deceiving. Over the next several hours, I worked closely with Catherine to assess the scope of evidence destruction, while carefully probing her knowledge about case details and legal theory. Her responses confirmed Jessica's suspicions about her true expertise level, being far beyond someone with her supposed background and experience. Catherine revealed detailed knowledge about Blackstone Acquisition's internal operations while claiming she learned about competitors through industry networking events. She mentioned specific executives' business strategies and client relationships that wouldn't be publicly available information. Her slip-ups provided crucial evidence of ongoing communication with rival firms. I encouraged Catherine to share her ideas about alternative defense strategies for Meridian, ostensibly to benefit from her fresh perspective on complex legal challenges. Her suggestions were sophisticated and demonstrated deep understanding of federal regulatory law, cybersecurity protocols, and forensic financial analysis. This level of expertise contradicted every aspect of her fabricated background. The monitoring software Jessica installed began producing immediate results. Catherine's computer usage showed she was uploading compressed files to secure external servers every evening after leaving the office. Her phone records revealed encrypted communications with handlers who provided detailed instructions about information gathering priorities and sabotage timing. But the most damning evidence came from Catherine's private conversations with her Blackstone contacts. The intercepted communications revealed plans for additional sabotage operations targeting Sterling Capital's remaining major clients. Catherine received instructions to destroy evidence in 3 more cases while gathering intelligence about upcoming mergers and acquisitions that could affect Blackstone's competitive position. The espionage network extended far beyond simple corporate rivalry. Catherine's handlers discussed coordinating with operatives at other investment firms across the country, suggesting a systematic campaign to destabilize American financial markets through targeted sabotage and intelligence theft. During our afternoon work session, Catherine made several attempts to learn about my backup evidence systems and data security protocols. She claimed interest in improving Sterling's information management procedures, but her questions focused specifically on identifying vulnerabilities she could exploit for future sabotage operations. I provided carefully misleading information about my security measures while appearing to trust her completely. Catherine believed she was gathering intelligence about my defenses when she was actually walking into a trap designed to expose her real capabilities and connections. The breakthrough came when Catherine received an urgent message from her handlers demanding immediate acceleration of the sabotage timeline. Someone had discovered federal authorities were investigating Blackstone's activities, and Catherine needed to complete her mission before law enforcement intervention disrupted their operations. Jessica's intercept of this communication provided the final piece of evidence I needed to contact federal authorities. Catherine wasn't just conducting corporate espionage for business advantages. She was part of a criminal network operating under federal surveillance, which meant cooperating with authorities might protect me while helping prosecute international criminals. But I also realized Catherine would soon discover my surveillance activities and attempt to eliminate me as a threat to her mission. The acceleration timeline meant she planned to destroy my reconstructed Meridian evidence within days while framing me for the original destruction. I needed to spring my trap before she could implement her final sabotage plan. As Catherine prepared to leave the office that evening, I made my move. "Kelly, I've been thinking about your suggestions for improving our case management systems. Would you be willing to stay late tomorrow night to help me implement some of your security upgrades?" Catherine agreed immediately, clearly, viewing this as an opportunity to gain access to my reconstructed evidence and complete her sabotage mission. She had no idea that tomorrow night would bring FBI agents instead of another chance to destroy my work. I spent that evening coordinating with federal authorities while finalizing preparations for Catherine's capture. The counterintelligence operation had gathered enough evidence to prosecute not just Catherine, but her entire network of handlers and accomplices. The woman who destroyed my career through systematic deception was about to discover that sometimes the person who appears most naive is actually the most dangerous opponent she could face. Thursday evening arrived with the kind of anticipation that makes your hands shake and your heart race despite careful preparation. I had spent the day implementing final coordination with FBI Special Agent Maria Santos, who had been tracking Blackstone Acquisition's criminal network for over a year. My evidence provided the breakthrough they needed to document active espionage operations and identify compromised employees across multiple industries. Agent Santos explained that Blackstone operated as a front for international corporate intelligence gathering, stealing American business secrets for foreign competitors while destabilizing domestic financial markets through systematic sabotage. Catherine's infiltration of Sterling Capital represented just one operation in a vast criminal enterprise spanning dozens of investment firms, law practices, and consulting companies. The FBI had been unable to penetrate Blackstone's security protocols until Jessica's technical surveillance provided real-time access to their communication networks. Catherine's intercepted messages exposed operational details, handler identities, and planned sabotage targets that federal investigators couldn't have obtained through traditional investigative methods. "Your cooperation has been invaluable," Agent Santos told me during our final briefing. Catherine Walsh represents one of their most effective operatives, and capturing her will disrupt multiple ongoing operations while providing evidence to prosecute the entire network. The sting operation required precise timing and careful coordination to ensure Catherine's safety while gathering admissible evidence of criminal activity. Federal agents would monitor our meeting through concealed cameras and microphones, recording her confessions while preventing any violence if she realized the trap. Catherine arrived at Sterling's offices at 7:30, appearing relaxed and confident about completing her mission. She carried a specialized laptop containing data destruction software and communication tools for coordinating with her Blackstone handlers during the operation. "Eliza, I'm excited to help implement better security protocols," Catherine said with practiced sincerity. "Your willingness to accept fresh ideas shows real professional growth and maturity." I led her to the conference room where my reconstructed Meridian evidence was displayed, ostensibly for her review and suggestions about improved organization. The setup was designed to encourage Catherine to reveal her true expertise while providing opportunities for her to incriminate herself through detailed knowledge she shouldn't possess. "I've managed to recover most of the critical evidence from our backup systems," I explained, watching Catherine's reaction carefully. "But I'm concerned about preventing future security breaches. Your insights about information management could help us avoid similar disasters." Catherine studied the reconstructed case materials with obvious expertise, immediately identifying key documents and their legal significance. Her analysis demonstrated sophisticated understanding of federal regulatory law, cybersecurity protocols, and forensic financial analysis that contradicted every aspect of her fabricated background. "These backup systems seem quite comprehensive," Catherine observed, probing for information about my security measures. "How do you ensure these files remain protected from unauthorized access or accidental deletion?" I provided detailed explanations about my data protection protocols, while Catherine asked increasingly specific questions about encryption methods, access controls, and vulnerability assessments. Her inquiries revealed professional-level knowledge about information security that no legitimate business school graduate would possess. The conversation took a more dangerous turn when Catherine's phone buzzed with an encrypted message from her handlers. I watched her facial expression change from friendly interest to cold calculation as she read instructions that apparently accelerated her mission timeline. "Eliza, I think we should focus on securing the most sensitive documents first," Catherine said, her tone shifting to urgent efficiency. "Perhaps we could start with the materials that would be most damaging if they were compromised or destroyed." This was exactly the opening Agent Santos had predicted. Catherine was positioning herself to identify and destroy the evidence most crucial to Meridian's defense while making it appear like helpful security consultation. I needed to encourage her to reveal her true intentions while keeping her engaged until federal agents could move into position. You're absolutely right about prioritizing the sensitive materials. I agreed, directing Catherine's attention to the documents containing proof of foreign cyber attacks against Meridian's pension systems. These files show the sophisticated methods used by international criminals to penetrate American retirement accounts. Catherine's reaction was immediate and revealing. Her expertise about cybersecurity threats and international financial crime exceeded anything a domestic corporate spy should know. She discussed foreign hacking techniques, international money laundering operations, and criminal network structures with the detailed knowledge of someone who had worked directly with these organizations. The challenge with investigating international cybercrime, Catherine explained, is that American law enforcement often lacks the technical resources to trace sophisticated attacks back to their foreign sources. These criminals use multiple layers of security to hide their identities and operations. I encouraged Catherine to elaborate on her cybersecurity knowledge while secretly recording every word of her confession. She revealed information about specific foreign criminal organizations, their operational methods, and their targets within American financial markets that only someone with direct insider knowledge could possess. The most damning revelation came when Catherine described detailed technical specifications of the cyber attack against Meridian's pension fund. She knew exact dates, attack vectors, and security vulnerabilities that weren't included in any of the public investigation reports. This information could only have come from direct participation in the criminal conspiracy. "Catherine," I said carefully, using her real name for the first time, "your knowledge about these cyber attacks seems remarkably detailed for someone who just learned about this case. How do you know so much about international financial crime operations?" Catherine's expression froze as she realized her mistake. The friendly mask she had worn for months disappeared, replaced by the cold professionalism of someone trained in corporate espionage and criminal activities. She reached for her laptop, apparently planning to destroy evidence or communicate with her handlers about the compromised situation. "You've been monitoring my communications," Catherine said with deadly calm. "How long have you suspected my real identity?" Instead of answering, I triggered the emergency signal Agent Santos had provided. Within 30 seconds, FBI agents flooded the conference room surrounding Catherine with weapons drawn and federal arrest warrants ready for execution. "Catherine Walsh, you're under arrest for commercial espionage, fraud, conspiracy, and destruction of evidence," Agent Santos announced as tactical agents secured Catherine's laptop and communication devices. "You have the right to remain silent." Catherine's transformation from charming stepdaughter to dangerous criminal was complete and chilling. She offered no resistance, but maintained eye contact with me throughout the arrest process, clearly calculating whether I represented a continuing threat to her organization's operations. "This isn't over," Catherine said quietly as agents prepared to escort her from the building. "You have no idea what you've interfered with or who you're really fighting against." Agent Santos turned to me with obvious satisfaction about the successful operation. "Ms. Chen, your cooperation has helped us capture one of the most dangerous corporate spies operating in American markets. Catherine's arrest will disrupt criminal operations worth hundreds of millions of dollars." But even as federal agents led Catherine away, I wondered about her final warning. Her confidence suggested this arrest was a setback rather than a defeat for whatever organization she represented. The conspiracy I had uncovered might extend far beyond Blackstone acquisitions into realms of international crime and economic warfare that I was only beginning to understand. 3 days after Catherine's arrest, FBI agent Santos contacted me with revelations that transformed my understanding of everything I had experienced over the past year. The evidence seized from Catherine's devices and safe houses uncovered an international conspiracy that made Blackstone acquisitions look like a small-time operation compared to the criminal network she actually served. "Ms. Chen, we need you to come in for a comprehensive briefing," Agent Santos explained during our phone call. "The intelligence Catherine provided, combined with materials we recovered from her handlers, reveals why you were specifically targeted for elimination. This case extends far beyond corporate espionage into matters of national economic security." The FBI field office in downtown Chicago buzzed with activity as agents processed evidence from simultaneous raids conducted across 6 states. Catherine's arrest had triggered a coordinated law enforcement operation targeting what federal authorities now identified as the largest foreign intelligence network operating in American financial markets. Agent Santos led me to a secure briefing room where classified documents and financial analysis charts covered every available wall space. The scope of evidence was overwhelming, representing months of investigation into criminal operations worth billions of dollars in stolen intellectual property and manipulated market transactions. Catherine Walsh isn't just a corporate spy. Agent Santos began pointing to photographs and organizational charts showing international connections. She's a trained foreign intelligence operative working for a criminal network that infiltrates American investment firms to steal pension fund assets and destabilize retirement security for millions of workers. The briefing revealed that Catherine's mission specifically targeted lawyers like me, who successfully defended American investors from foreign manipulation schemes. My innovative defense strategies had prevented international criminals from stealing hundreds of millions in retirement savings, making me a priority target for elimination or neutralization. Agent Santos showed me classified documents proving my previous legal victories had disrupted sophisticated theft operations conducted by criminal organizations based in 3 different countries. Cases I considered routine corporate defense work were actually critical battles in an undeclared economic war against American financial institutions. Your successful defense of pension funds like Meridian prevented foreign criminals from gaining access to retirement accounts belonging to hundreds of thousands of American workers, Agent Santos explained. These organizations viewed your expertise as a major threat to their long-term operations. The Meridian case took on new significance when federal analysis revealed the cyber attack originated from the same criminal network Catherine served. Her mission involved destroying evidence of foreign involvement while framing domestic pension fund managers for crimes committed by international hackers. My defense strategy threatened to expose the real perpetrators and protect American retirees from massive theft. Catherine's handlers at Blackstone Acquisitions were themselves controlled by foreign intelligence services, seeking to weaken American economic stability through systematic theft and market manipulation. The corporate espionage operation provided cover for activities that constituted economic warfare against domestic financial institutions. Catherine received specific instructions about undermining your reputation and capabilities because your legal work posed unique threats to foreign criminal operations. Agent Santos continued showing me decoded communications between Catherine and her international handlers. Your deep understanding of cybersecurity law, forensic accounting, and international financial crime made you exceptionally dangerous to their activities. The investigation uncovered assassination attempts against other effective defense attorneys who had successfully protected American institutions from foreign manipulation. Catherine's infiltration strategy represented a sophisticated alternative to violence using career destruction and professional sabotage instead of physical elimination to neutralize threats. We've identified at least 12 other attorneys who were targeted for similar treatment, Agent Santos explained, pointing to a map showing locations across the country where foreign operatives had infiltrated law firms. Some were killed in apparent accidents, others had their careers destroyed through manufactured scandals, and several simply disappeared under suspicious circumstances. Richard Sterling faced potential federal charges for failing to implement proper security protocols and inadvertently facilitating foreign intelligence operations. However, his genuine ignorance of Catherine's true identity and complete cooperation with the federal investigation resulted in plea negotiations rather than criminal prosecution. Mr. Sterling will avoid prison time in exchange for implementing comprehensive security measures and submitting to federal oversight. Agent Santos informed me, his firm will become a model for identifying and preventing foreign infiltration of American investment companies. The scope of Sterling Capital's compromise extended beyond Catherine's individual activities. Foreign intelligence services had been monitoring the firm's operations for over 2 years, gathering information about client relationships, defense strategies, and competitive advantages that could be exploited for broader criminal purposes. Sterling's client database contained detailed financial information about pension funds, retirement accounts, and investment portfolios worth tens of billions of dollars. Catherine's handlers used this intelligence to identify vulnerable targets for theft operations while planning systematic attacks against American retirement security. Catherine's mission represented just one component of a comprehensive campaign to steal American pension assets and transfer wealth to foreign criminal organizations, Agent Santos explained, showing me financial flowcharts documenting the scale of theft operations. Your defense work helped protect billions of dollars that would otherwise have been stolen from American retirees. But the most shocking revelation came when Agent Santos showed me classified intelligence about future planned operations. Foreign criminal networks were systematically targeting the American retirement system, seeking to steal pension fund assets while creating financial chaos that could destabilize the entire economy. Your expertise in defending pension funds and retirement accounts made you a high-priority target because successful legal defenses threatened their long-term strategic objectives, Agent Santos said, with obvious admiration. These organizations invest substantial resources in eliminating people who can effectively oppose their activities. The federal investigation expanded to include international cooperation with foreign law enforcement agencies seeking to prosecute criminal networks operating across multiple countries. Catherine's intelligence provided crucial evidence for prosecuting organizations that had operated with impunity for decades. Catherine's arrest and cooperation will help us prosecute criminal networks responsible for stealing over $2 billion from American investors over the past 5 years, Agent Santos explained. Your decision to fight back instead of running potentially saved the retirement security of millions of American workers. As I absorbed the scope of what I had unknowingly been fighting against, I realized my apparent career setback had revealed my true calling. The legal expertise I developed defending corporate clients had prepared me to serve as a guardian of American economic security against foreign threats I never imagined existed. The woman who tried to destroy my career had actually shown me the most important work of my life. Fighting international criminals required exactly the kind of sophisticated legal analysis, strategic thinking, and determined advocacy I had spent years developing through seemingly routine corporate cases. 6 months later, I stood before the Senate Subcommittee on Financial Security delivering testimony that would reshape American policy for protecting domestic investment institutions from foreign interference. My experience with Catherine's infiltration had become a case study for identifying and defeating economic espionage operations targeting the heart of American retirement security. Senators, the threat facing our financial institutions extends far beyond traditional corporate espionage. I explained to the packed hearing room. Foreign criminal networks are conducting systematic warfare against American pension funds, retirement accounts, and investment portfolios that provide security for millions of working families. The hearing room buzzed with intense attention from lawmakers, financial industry executives, and national security officials who understood that economic stability was as crucial to American strength as military defense. My testimony provided the foundation for legislation that would establish new criminal penalties for foreign infiltration while requiring enhanced security protocols for firms managing retirement assets. Catherine Walsh received a 15-year federal prison sentence after pleading guilty to charges of espionage, conspiracy, fraud, and obstruction of justice. Her cooperation with federal authorities helped prosecute 47 co-conspirators across multiple countries, including the foreign intelligence handlers who directed her operations against American financial institutions. The trial established precedent-setting legal frameworks for prosecuting economic espionage as a form of warfare rather than simple criminal activity. Catherine's case demonstrated that foreign interference in American markets posed national security threats requiring coordinated government response and private sector vigilance. Blackstone Acquisition ceased operations entirely after federal raids revealed their complete integration with foreign criminal networks. The company's assets were seized and liquidated to provide restitution for victims of their systematic theft operations. Former executives faced prosecution under federal espionage statutes, carrying potential life sentences for treason. Sterling Capital Management not only survived the crisis, but emerged as the industry leader in security protocols and counterintelligence training. Richard Sterling, humbled by his near destruction through infiltration, promoted me to managing partner with complete authority over firm operations and security implementation. Aliza, I owe you more than a promotion. Richard told me during the ceremony announcing my new position. "You saved our company, protected our clients, and helped defend the entire American financial system from criminal attack. Your expertise and courage prevented a catastrophe that could have destroyed millions of retirement accounts." Under my leadership, Sterling Capital developed comprehensive security training programs that became mandatory for investment firms nationwide. Our protocols for identifying foreign infiltration, protecting client information, and coordinating with federal authorities established industry standards adopted by companies managing trillions in American assets. The Meridian Pension Fund case concluded with complete vindication for the wrongly accused managers and full recovery of assets targeted by foreign theft operations. My reconstructed defense proved conclusively that pension fund leadership followed proper procedures, while foreign criminals exploited cybersecurity vulnerabilities that even federal experts couldn't have detected. More importantly, the successful defense saved retirement benefits for 50,000 American workers who would have lost their life savings to systematic fraud. The case established legal precedents for protecting pension funds from foreign cyber attacks while providing restitution for victims of international financial crime. I founded the American Financial Defense Institute using my newfound prominence and federal support to train lawyers nationwide in recognizing and combating economic espionage. The Institute's curriculum teaches legal professionals to identify foreign infiltration attempts, protect sensitive client information, and coordinate effectively with national security agencies. Our mission extends beyond individual case victories to defending the economic foundation of American prosperity. I explained during the Institute's opening ceremony, every pension fund we protect, every retirement account we defend, and every criminal network we prosecute contributes to preserving financial security for working families across the country. The Institute's training programs became essential preparation for modern corporate law practice. Federal agencies regularly consulted our expertise for developing counterintelligence strategies, while international allies adopted our protocols for protecting their own financial institutions from similar criminal operations. My personal transformation paralleled the professional success in ways that surprised everyone who knew me before Catherine's infiltration. The isolation and workaholic tendencies that made me vulnerable to manipulation evolved into balanced leadership that valued team collaboration and genuine relationship building. Jessica Martinez became my deputy director at the Institute, using her technical expertise to develop advanced cybersecurity training for legal professionals. Her courage in investigating Catherine's activities and supporting the federal operation earned her recognition as one of the most effective counterintelligence analysts in the financial security field. Working with you taught me that defending people's financial security is the most meaningful legal work possible, Jessica told me during her promotion ceremony. These criminal networks target ordinary working families, and stopping them protects the foundation of American economic opportunity. The experience taught me that apparent career destruction often reveals hidden opportunities for extraordinary service. My resignation from what seemed like my dream promotion led to work that truly mattered more than personal advancement. Fighting international criminals provided deeper satisfaction than I ever experienced defending routine corporate interests. Catherine's betrayal ultimately strengthened my commitment to justice over profit and authentic achievement over political connections. Her systematic manipulation revealed the importance of earned respect rather than inherited position, building lasting success through demonstrated competence rather than family connections or personal charm. The life lesson emerged with crystal clarity: when integrity confronts organized deception, temporary defeat often conceals ultimate victory for people with courage to fight back against overwhelming odds. Maintaining ethical standards while trusting institutional justice creates opportunities for positive impact that transcends individual ambitions to serve the greater good. Richard Sterling's transformation from manipulated executive to security advocate demonstrated that people can learn from exploitation and emerge stronger through adversity. His willingness to acknowledge mistakes, implement comprehensive reforms, and submit to federal oversight showed that redemption comes through genuine cooperation with justice rather than attempting to avoid consequences. Looking back on the events that transformed my life, I understood that Catherine's infiltration wasn't random targeting, but recognition of capabilities I didn't know I possessed. My legal expertise had prepared me for battles I never anticipated against enemies I couldn't have imagined, protecting people whose security depended on lawyers willing to fight for justice regardless of personal cost. The woman who tried to destroy my career actually revealed my true calling as a defender of American economic security against sophisticated foreign threats. Every challenge she created, every relationship she corrupted, and every victory she stole ultimately prepared me for work that mattered more than anything I could have achieved through traditional career advancement. Today, the American Financial Defense Institute protects trillions of dollars in retirement assets while training thousands of legal professionals to recognize and defeat foreign infiltration. My apparent career disaster became the foundation for service that safeguards financial security for millions of American families. The promotion I lost led to purposes I never could have discovered through conventional success. Sometimes the greatest victories emerge from what initially appears to be devastating defeat, when people have courage to fight back against injustice and determination to serve something greater than personal ambition. Have you ever experienced a betrayal that initially seemed devastating, but ultimately revealed opportunities you never could have imagined? I'd love to hear your stories about overcoming professional challenges and discovering unexpected strength through adversity. Please share your experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if it resonated with your own journey of fighting back against unfair treatment. Thank you for joining me and sharing this story of transformation and triumph. I hope it encourages you to never give up when facing what seems like insurmountable professional obstacles. Subscribe to this channel for more stories about overcoming workplace betrayal and finding strength through adversity, and please share this video with anyone who might benefit from learning that apparent defeats often contain the seeds of extraordinary victories. Remember, your integrity and determination are more powerful than any conspiracy against you. Keep fighting for what's right, and you'll discover capabilities you never knew you possessed.